Welcome to the Family First Retirement Podcast with George Politarhos. For more information, visit betrayawealth.com. Now, let's get to the show.
Fascinating study, George, from Yahoo Finance that says 68% of adults admit that they're not prepared for retirement. Almost 70% of adults. Furthermore, 48% of adults don't care about planning for retirement right now. Why? Why do you think people don't care? Are they overwhelmed? Are they living paycheck to paycheck? Did they think, oh, I'll get to it later? What do you think?
I think it's a procrastination. And I think they're worried of being reprimanded or belittled, perhaps.
Because they've made some financial mistakes.
Yeah, it is what it is. When you come and work with me and my team here at Portray Wealth Group, Mark, I'm going to give you a promise right now. I am never going to say, what did you do? Why didn't you do this? It doesn't work. What is in the past is just that. It's in the past. When you come into the office here at 501 Silverside Road, we're going to sit there and take what you have and make it go forward. Because there's not a darn thing I can do about yesterday. We can't correct anything you did in the past. But all we can do is make sure we don't repeat those errors or shortcomings going forward. When we sit down and go over the Family First Retirement Plan with you folks, we are going to address where you are today, what you're making currently, what your assets are for retirement. What we're going to do is see what your expenses are. We're going to talk about Social Security. When's the right time to turn on? Maybe take it early, late. We'll address those. We're going to address long-term care, and we're really going to look into taxes with you. Because I want this plan to be able to do what you want, how you want, and when you want to going forward. When you call me at 302-330-2166, we'll start taking that first conversation, just get to meet each other, get to know who we are and where we're going to go forward. If you've saved $250,000 plus for retirement, give us a call and let us help you plan for that retirement when it comes down the road. Whether it's in 6 months, 6 years, or tomorrow, you need to take the step forward. You need to put on your big boy pants and not be part of this 50% of the population that says, I'm not going to worry about it. Let the chips fall where they may. Unfortunately, I live that life. I'm a prime example of being a child, a 28-year-old child at the time, when my parents said, don't worry about it. It'll take care of itself. And when my father died, Mark, my mom was homeless because they just let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah.
That's not the way to work, folks. You need to step up. And I personally, my boys, Alex is 30 and Jared is 25. This may be overreaching. We've already started their retirement. They're already planning for that 40 years down the road. Because, folks, if you think the government's here to take care of you, you're wrong. And that's exactly right, Mark. You're wrong. Yeah. And the bigger question I think people are neglecting to think about, because we are so used to having the immediate satisfaction. If I want something, remember you're a little kid, Mark, and you couldn't wait for Christmas to come because you sent your list to Santa Claus.
That's right.
And said, I want the new bike or I want the new truck. And you had to wait. And today, I want a new bike or I want a new car. You go and you buy it right now. It's delivered to the house tomorrow. You don't even know you ordered the thing. But we're sitting there and we're making sure that we don't get like that, because this is a planning process. When you work with me here at Portray Wealth and my team, we're going to be your GPS for retirement. We're going to help you get on that course to go where you want to go. When you call 302-330-2166, we're going to schedule that no cost, no obligation meeting to come in and start the process of finding out about the Family First Retirement Plan and seeing how it's going to work for you, how you're going to retire, and how to make sure your family's not left in the dust trying to deal with all the trouble by not planning.
George, you're kind of like Santa Claus, because we come to you with a list of our hopes, our dreams, our desires, and retirement. And we're not saying that you're going to sit there and say, I'm going to give you this, I'm going to give you this, I'm going to give you this. But what you're going to do is you're going to help us check those off the list. I mean, is that a bad analogy?
Absolutely correct.
You are a big Greek Santa Claus is what you are, George Politarhos. You can meet George.
Well, thank you. Ho, ho, ho.
Portray Wealth. It's 120 degrees out. What are you doing talking about Santa Claus? Betrayawealth.com. P-A-T-R-I-A. Betrayawealth.com. PolitarhosFinancial.com. You can meet George and the team. You can schedule that consultation from the homepage. And again, if you've saved at least $250,000 or more, you may be doing better than you think. But that's really where the power begins to start customizing a plan. George wants to help everybody in the community, but you need to have some savings. You need to have a bit of a plan. Helps if you have a 401k. That's where George can really go to work to start customizing that family first retirement plan. He wants to give it to you this weekend. 302-330-2166. And you talk about how the government's not here to help you. Well, we're learning more and more every day with Social Security. And a lot of people, you've said, George, that you've talked to people in the community, and that tends to be one of the biggest issues that they're worried about right now is Social Security. So what are you telling them? What are some of the solutions?
Here at Betrayal Wealth, we have an advisory board. Our advisory board is customers. We have 6 customers and their spouses on our advisory board. And it's kind of like our board of bosses, so to speak. I want to know what we need to do better. And I asked that question on them recently, and we'll go over some of the questions every week or the next few weeks for the summer. And Paul and Linda asked that question about what I should talk about on the show. And I need about Social Security because it's confusing. And when to turn on the right time.
Yeah.
That is probably one of the number 2 questions we get from people. Because so many people say, I'm going to take it as soon as I retire. Or as soon as I hit 62, I'm going to turn this on. And others say, I'm going to wait till I'm 70 to maximize my benefit. And each question is correct and each question could be wrong. We have a lot of proprietary programs that we've developed and work with. And the one is the Social Security Risk Analysis Report. If anyone watched the debate a few weeks ago between President Biden and President Trump, the question was given, and the answer that they said, we'll leave that out. The question was, how do you feel that they should take care of Social Security and planning? Is there a means test coming? Means testing means, Mark, you have $2 million in retirement savings.
Okay.
You have a huge savings account, no debt, long-term care, you're all taken care of. Do you need to have Social Security as much as the Joneses?
I mean, I would assume so. I've worked my whole life putting into it. I'd like to be able to draw from it.
That's what we would think.
Yeah.
That's what I think normal. But the government's idea is, well, you don't really need it because you have other assets. So we're going to take away or limit how much you get of that Social Security and give it to someone who needs it more than you.
But that's my
testing.
money, George.
It's your money. That's your money. Exactly right. And it's really funny. Did you ever see when you do a financial advising with people and they have with other advisors they work with, and they had a down market and they lost money? Folks, how many of you have had that happen and your advisor said, it wasn't a real loss. It was only on paper. Don't worry about it. Everything comes back up. Have you ever heard that, Mark?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because as soon as I saw I had X dollars on my sheet of my money, it's my money.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to that Social Security statement that we used to get every year. And then went to every 2 years, and then they changed every 5 years. Now it's back to online. And folks, if you haven't gone on and registered, go to www.ssa.gov. Log in, set up an account, and you can see your Social Security statement online. Once I see that at 67, my full retirement age, I have $3,000 a month coming in, that's my money. So when the government steps up and says, well, we're going to take it away from you, George, by up to 24%, starting in 2033, to give to Sue and John down the street who could use it more than you could, I have a problem. Getting back to that, we're going to look at those answers, and I'm going to show you the percentage chance of having a reduction of your Social Security benefit. I want as much of my money as possible. When we do the Family First Retirement Plan, we're going to see where the income's coming from in retirement. So I'm going to be using my 401k, my TSP, my 403b. Maybe I'm blessed to have a pension. That's great. That's income coming in. Am I going to take Social Security at 62, 64, or am I going to use my money? I just met with Charles and Janet this past week. We talked about the same thing. And Charles wanted to wait till he was 67. He's retiring at 65. And we went through the plan together. And my recommendation was to turn it on in January. He turned 66. And he says, why would I want to do that, George? I'll get an extra $200 if I wait a year. And my answer is, we have a local furniture chain here in Wilmington that I love to go to. Leslie loves to go to. And we have a Giant Kanowski's credit card. Yep. So we'll do a room of the house at a time. We use our card, and I get interest-free money for a year, 18 months. Great.
Sure.
Do I use that card, or do I write a check out of my checking account?
Use the card.
Use the card. Why?
Interest-free.
Interest-free. And what else? I'm using
Their money.
not my money. So getting back to Charles and Janet, we're going to use Social Security. We're going to use their money and let your money sit over here getting bigger and growing so that you don't have to worry about it. That's how more and more people are looking at this and how we're playing more efficiently. And that goes into the puzzle. That goes into that jigsaw we're talking about. That goes into the mix of where we're going to get our money and how our income streams are going to continue to grow. So when you say, when's the best time? The best time is an individual analysis, but you need to have someone that can help you do it. That's what I do every day. When you call me at 302-330-2166, let's schedule that time to come in and start answering that and all those other questions that we're not sure about retirement.
George, you mentioned the Social Security risk analysis, part of the Family First retirement plan. What am I looking at with my Social Security risk analysis?
Well, when we sit down and meet with you, we put together the Family First retirement plan.
Yeah.
And then that plan is made up of several important information. We talk about income. We talk about taxes. We talk about Social Security. We talk about long-term care. And we talk about how your retirement is going to look going forward. And if there's a mistake or a question, we're addressing it. The Social Security Risk Analysis Report is a 4-page paper, which is as simple as can be. And you get that, folks. After we meet, all this information I give you because knowledge is power.
Yes, sir.
I need to know what's going on. When I build a Social Security Risk Analysis Report, we're putting in the questions they're asking. How much do you have saved? How much income? Health? Long-term care? It puts out information based on my age. I'm 58 years old. The average person in my age group with our savings and income, the likelihood of people in my age group having a reduction is 57%, whatever the number is. Leslie and I having a reduction in my Social Security is 87%. So it's 87% opportunity that I'm going to have a reduction of my Social Security in 2033. That's what it's about. I love percentages. I can't gamble. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. I don't know the odds and all that. Numbers make sense to me. So if you're telling me there's an 8 or 9 out of 10 chance that my Social Security is going to be reduced because the government thinks I make too much money, I've saved too much, what am I going to do?
Make a different plan.
I'm turning on Social Security right now. I'm going to take every cent out of them and use that to offset my retirement. And that's what makes that so valuable. You know, we always say my job here at Petrea, besides being the owner of this great business we have, is taking the gray out of your retirement and making the black and white mark. That's what this is. It's another way of taking the gray away from you. The gray being, I'm not really sure when I should retire. Should I turn on Social Security? Can I afford to retire? And what's the cost of retirement? And making it black and white. We talked about 68% of the population hasn't prepared for retirement. 40% don't care about planning.
Yes, sir.
We're all big people. Some bigger than others, Mark, but we're all big people. Let's put on our big boy panties and let's address this.
Yes, sir.
Let's face the facts. And that's what this is so important about. When you call me at 302-330-2166, we're going to take those steps to go forward. It may be uncomfortable for you at times, folks. You may not want to hear what we're saying, but guess what? And this is terrible, I know. I don't care. You need to know the facts.
Yeah.
You need to have the information. If not for yourself, Mark, and I'm going to use you, how about for your wife? Doesn't she deserve to be okay if something happens and to know that you've done everything proper to get to that point? I want people set up to be lined up to move forward. And that's what this process is about.
That's one of the big reasons we call it the Family First retirement plan, because it's not just for you, it's for your family, a succession plan, if you will. And it's no cost and it's no obligation. Again, this weekend, if you've saved at least $250,000 or more for your retirement, and that includes a savings, a 401k, it could be an IRA, a Roth, a TSP. It could be your pension if you're a federal employee as well. Reach out to the team at the Betrayal Wealth Group. Let's have this conversation. Again, that's also going to include that Social Security risk analysis. You're going to walk away with information, education, and you're going to walk away with that piece of paper. George is going to give it to you, your customized plan to see where you are and where you can go in your retirement. But it all begins with a phone call, 302-330-2166. Always available at betrayalwealth.com. And I can say from experience, you are a percentage person. I've been to a casino with you. And as I'm sitting there just giving them my money, George is behind me in my ear going, if you walk away now, you can save 60% of what you walked in with. All right, Mark, Walk away now, you can say 40%. Okay, Mark, you have to win 8 of the next 10 hands of blackjack to even break even. All right, Mark, it's time to go. That's George's world. He lives
Truly
it.
not my thing, man.
He talks it. Portrayal Wealth, it's true. PortrayalWealth.com to meet George and the team. So let's talk a little bit about annuities as well, because I know that's another big topic of conversation. Great opportunity for some guaranteed income in retirement, because it's all about protecting your assets and building retirement income. And there was an article in Barron's that talked about many people don't want to hear the word annuity when planning their retirement, because sometimes annuity has a negative connotation for whatever reason. So do you kind of have to explain different ways around how it's a great opportunity for guaranteed income?
There's a lot of benefits, features and benefits about annuities that people are not aware of because they still think of their dad's Buick. You know, their dad's Buick from 45 years ago is not the same Buick that's being sold today. And that's what we have to explain to people and understand. When you have a pension through your employment, you have an annuity. You have a lifetime payment amount. But there's different types of annuities, Mark, and we've spoken about this before. But there's really 4 types of annuities that you're going to hear and see. You have a variable annuity, you have an immediate annuity, you have a deferred annuity, and you have a fixed index annuity. Let's start that variable one. We actively manage your account for you for retirement and for other expenses. And there's a risk involved with that. We all understand that you can make money or lose money in those accounts. Well, a variable annuity is the same animal. You can make money or you can lose part of your money at any given time. But a variable annuity also has extremely high fees, between 2 and 7%. I'm not a fan of variable annuities. If that's the part of the risk that we need in retirement, we manage those funds for you. And an income producer, an immediate annuity or a deferred annuity are the same animal. You give an insurance company X dollars, $100,000, and you start that income stream either 30 days or 10 years down the road. And they guarantee you an income amount when you turn that money on for the rest of your and perhaps your spouse's life. The problem with that is, in my opinion, once I turn that income stream, that is no longer my money. So example, Mark, Alex and Anna are buying a house. They're moving into a new home. And I have this, if I had this income producing annuity and I'm getting $1,000 a month out of this annuity, and Alex comes and says, Dad, I need $10,000 for a new roof on the house. If I go to that insurance company and say, I need an extra $10,000 this month, you know what they say to me? So sorry to hear that, Mr. Politarhos. Your check for $1,000 will be deposited on the 1st. Have a good day. It's no longer your money. But sometimes we need that. So I don't think that's bad. Some people, we need that for their plan for certain situations. I am not a fan of that. The indexed annuities is what I look at and I work with so much. And the reason being is that I get the benefits of never losing a cent of my money, being guaranteed, come hell or high water. If the world goes a heck of a handbag tomorrow, folks, I still have this. I get the upside growth of the market where I share in the upside. So if the market goes up 5 or 10%, I may gain 5 or 10%. If it goes up 15%, I may only make 10%. So I don't get all the upside, but I get none of the downside. A, B, C, I get to take money out of my account. Usually after the first year, you can withdraw funds up to 10% of the cash value. So I have accessibility to my money, where in the past, people had that connotation. Once you turn the annuity on, like the income producing annuities, you can't take your money out when you want to. Not with Portrayal Wealth. The way we set this up is it's your money, it's your choices, your decisions.
Insurance and annuities offered through George A. Politarhos, Delaware Insurance License Number 1373121. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties.